Welcome to another episode of our Mastermind, where we invite special guests, proven guests. And tonight we have none other than Darren Lyons, DL Master Barber. For y'all that don't know him, he's the most decorated barber on the planet. He's a real celebrity barber. I know a lot of y'all say you're celebrity barbers. He was the only barber. His clients were Tupac, Biggie, Puffy. You name it, he was their barber. Now, we're not talking about 5 years. We're talking about going way back, before there was Instagram, before there was a Facebook, before there was an internet, before there was a Clubhouse, before there was a YouTube. Now, he's helped so many barbers, not just locally, not just in the United States, but all over the world, China, everywhere. He's not going to tell y'all some of the things, probably, because he's not a guy to brag or boast, but I will tell you, he has over 22 cars. 22 cars. Now, these cars are investment cars. They're like having 22 houses. He invests in these and he can make more money. Now, there's not many barbers, I per se, or even stylists that have multiple houses, that live in a mansion, have a swimming pool in the backyard, that has a boat worth more than a house. But without further ado,
come on now, let's get it
straight.
We're
going to introduce to y'all,
come on,
Mr. Darren Lyons. Now all y'all barbers that wear suits and all that, he's been doing that before y'all barbers were born.
You know it since the 4th and 5th and 6th grade.
Okay, so DL.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your life, but we want to go back to your childhood, and then we're going to segue up to where we at now. But let's go back.
But let me first of all say I want to give honor to God for even allowing me to wake up this morning. I would like to thank God for Chin, the Millionaire Barber, for having me on his show. I would like to thank God for every single person that is following this live, has been following Chin, and who has been trying to uplift, motivate, and inspire their lives to do better. So before I even want to get into all of that, I have to give credit where credit is due. And none of this would be possible without the man upstairs. So I'm excited. I'm ready to teach. I'm ready to motivate. I'm ready to inspire people to get into their purpose. I'm excited to get people on a plan of action. I would like to see people have that passive income coming in. First of all, my mother was, she was a true G to the game. My mom made an executive decision to come to California, where I'm originally from heaven, and God dropped me off in Ohio to take a look and then bring me over to California. So I originated from Warren, Ohio. My father made a decision that he should have never made. And that decision was to hit my mother. So my mother got pregnant at a very young age, told my father that she was pregnant. My father didn't respond at first. She said it to him again. He decided to say, well, I guess we'll just beat it out of you. That was very traumatic for me because I was actually in the stomach, but I swear to you on everything I love, it hurts me to talk about it all of the time because I felt it. I felt what my mom was feeling when she was getting her ASS beat. When she looked in the mirror and after seeing what my father did to her, she was in that place, that space that said, no man will ever hit me again. Because of that, she made an executive decision to move to California with no purpose and no plan. All she knew was, I guess her purpose was, or I can't say she didn't have a purpose, but she didn't have no plan, was to get me to California so I can have a better life. So I didn't have to be raised in a city that the average income was $30,000 annually. And she wanted me to have a better life and a better opportunity. So she moved me to California. Thus, when we got here, we were homeless. I remember my mom, we came in on a Greyhound and then we came twice. And, that was a tough situation because we had no place to go. So my mother was hitting on church doors and trying to shake doors open to try to find a place for refuge. I look up at my mom and said, Mom, you don't have the key. And she would just look at me and say it was going to be okay. So that was one of those things that was tough for me. We found a church and we end up in the church bulletin every week. And they would like, I can hold Sister Lyons for a week, or I can hold Brother Lyons for a week, talking about me and my mother. And I will tell you, folks, on everything I love, I don't even know how I still love the Lord. I don't even know how I still believe in God. I don't still know how I still have faith, because some of those Christian people were the worst Christian people I've ever met in my life. They did some heinous things when my mother wasn't there. They would beat me just because they could. They wouldn't feed me. Their kids, I remember one time, Chin, where she woke everybody up and said, don't nobody eat these cookies. She had baked these specific cookies and she was big on cooking. And the kids were older than me and they ate up all of the cookies. And when she came home and said, who ate up all the cookies? All of the kids pointed at me and I didn't get one cookie. She began to beat the brakes off me. And then after that, she cooked this elaborate meal, macaroni, cheese, yams, chicken, baked chicken, smothered, the whole 9 yards. We talking about soul food, which is slow food. And I mean, we prayed. And as we prayed, she said, you can't have none. And I would just sit there and be hungry. But I wouldn't say anything to my mother because I knew my mother would protect me. And if she protected me at that particular place and space, we would get kicked out. So I didn't say anything. But those people that we went and stayed at, I would say 90% of the people's houses that we stayed that was supposedly Christian, supposedly loving, they didn't seem like they had any God in them at all, Chin. But I will say this, I thank God for continuing to allow me to have faith. I never gave up on God. I never gave up on my faith. I never gave up on what the purpose was and why we had to go through this. But I will say this, Chin, that was a part of my life that let me know that what not to do. That was a part of my life where I knew that I had to do something different. And even as a young man, I knew that I wanted to do something for me and my mother by being an only child. And I wanted a better life. At that particular time, I was just too young to do anything, but I was a very optimistic child. And I said, I'm going to be grinding 12 months out the year. And I'm going to be working my ASS off 24 hours a day. And I'm going to make progress. And that's exactly what I did, Chan. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I was not allowed to wear regular clothes like everybody else. My mother made me wear a suit every single day to school. But I didn't want to wear the suits and I had to wear a tie. But my mother grabbed my face one day, Chan, and she told me that you're a businessman. And I said, oh, I want to be a business. She's like, son, you're a businessman. And I said, I'm a businessman. She said, yes, you're a businessman. And from that day forward, Chan, my mom would give me $5 a day in the late 70s, going into the 80s. No kid should have had no damn $5 a day. So I took that $5 a day, Chan, and I went to a liquor store called Lindsay's Liquor, which he would never let kids during the week go into a store because kids were stealing his candy. And I told him, I want to buy your candy, but I can't buy it because you won't let me in. I told him what I wanted to do. I told him I wanted to sell candy and stuff like that. So he took me in the back, swear up and down. I was in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, Chin. He said, so I'm gonna give it to you wholesale. I said, man, I ain't no hoe, and he was like, no, son, wholesale. And he explained to me what wholesale was, meaning it was cheaper than what the retail price was. And I'm gonna give it to you cheaper so you can make a profit. And once he understood that, I gave him my list. And I was the only kid that was allowed to go in during school, before school, and I was able to fulfill my orders. I had Fun Dips, Chico Sticks, Now Laters, Boston Baked Beans, Lemon Heads, pickles with the spice on them. I had everything. I filled my book bag up, Chan, with candy. And believe it or not, I got so big at doing it, I ended up having candy dealers all over the school that was selling my candy. And I was making average probably anywhere from $150 to $200 a day just selling candy. So, my mom spoke that life into me. She spoke a businessman into me. And I've been an entrepreneur ever since.
So you never had a job, have you?
No, I had jobs, but they didn't last long. Is because my spirit was leading me out of that place. And jobs for me just wasn't the ticket. I always wanted to be in control of my destiny. I always wanted to be in control of my time. And I always wanted to be in control of my money. And I was young at feeling that way. And I felt like I was wasting time for $4 an hour, which was a lot of money. I picked jobs that I was getting top dollar, but I wasn't, to me, after you took the taxes out, I was getting $50, $75 for the week. I was like, nah, I can do better. So I was creating jobs for myself. Not only that, on the weekends, I would sell flowers on the street corner, just like a lot of Latins do today out here in California. They sell flowers on the street corner. And a lot of people would laugh at me and a lot of people would be like, man, you stupid, but the funny thing is, Chin, I took that money and I flipped that money and I made more money doing it. And then from there, I started buying bikes when my friends were stealing bikes. I was buying bikes and I was stripping them all the way down. I was repainting them, putting new tires and rims on it. And then I was selling them at a premium price. And my bikes was looking damn near as good as a bike coming from a store, but they were all custom. So people started buying my bikes, and then I started really making money. But I was making so much money that I didn't need anything from my mother. I still lived in the projects, but we didn't have a nasty house. My mom, she was big on cleanliness. She was big on management. She was big on reading. I wasn't, Chin, just so you know, and for those out there that don't know, because this is stories because Chin said we're going to open up the heart today. So what I'm getting ready to tell you guys, nobody knows this, but I'm going to let you know because it's not embarrassing. But my mom wouldn't allow me to watch cartoons. I wasn't allowed to watch the Three Stooges. Every once in a while, she would let me watch the Little Rascals. And the reason why she said that stuff was stupid and you need to learn. So before I can even go out to play every single day, I had to read a book. The books that she was making me read was not Dr. Seuss books. They weren't books with like the average books that a kid should be reading at that age. I was reading books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was reading books like The Greatest Salesman in the World, The Richest Man in Babylon. I would cry all of the time and say, where's the pictures? There's no pictures in here. And even though my mother was at work, she would always call periodically to see what chapter I was on. There was no Cliff Notes, so there was no way for me, even though I had money to go buy Cliff Notes at the time, I had to actually read the book. And so I would have to read a book before I could even go outside and play. By the time junior high hit, my mother was, even though she didn't have money, her dream was to travel the world. And so she didn't have a lot of money. So she became a barber. So I got to see her cut hair and work in a barber shop. And but she kept putting in applications at every airline, United, Delta, Pan Am. Every time that they were hiring, she was out trying to get a job because she wanted to travel. And so my mom finally got a job at Pan Am, and she taught me how to travel by myself out the country. And so I guess you would say in the seventh grade, the summer of the seventh grade, all the way till I graduated, my mom would put me on a plane to either Hong Kong or Seoul, Korea to buy my school clothes. I would have custom made suits out of the GQ magazine. I wouldn't take any clothes with me. I would just bring a GQ magazine and I would have all of the suits custom made. I would buy polo shirts. They were polo shirts back then was $30 here in the States. And back there, I was buying them for $1.25. I was buying Fila sweatsuits that was $350 at what we call Macy's and Broadway. And that's what only dope dealers can afford them. I was bringing them back for $35 with the shoes to go with. So I was very, very, very well dressed. I was custom tailored suits every time. And mind you, I'm staying out there 7 to 10 days. And I'm only in the seventh grade. I'm only in the eighth grade and I'm by myself. So I knew how to get around the world. My mom didn't have a lot of money. So when we would travel, we would go to like Paris, we would go to Italy, and I didn't want to go. I wanted to be with my friends. But the thing was, Chan, that we would only have $200. My mom would have us $200 and we would stay at the YMCA. But the funny thing is we flew first class. We flew first class always. We never flew in the back. So she made sure we flew first class. But when we landed, we had to stay in hostels. We had to stay in YMCAs. Every once in a while, we got to stay in a nice hotel if she had a little bit more money. But my mom average would probably be between $200 and $300, which wasn't a lot of money to be in another country. But she said she gonna make it work because all she wanted to do is touch down and be in Paris. All she wanted to do is be in Italy. And so she taught me how to travel. And that's why I can't sit still now. That's why you see me all over the world, because I'm made for this. So 7th, 8th grade, I made even more money than I was making, and I wasn't selling candy by then. I was creating jobs for myself, cutting grass, washing cars. I was doing everything and anything not to have a job, but to make money.
So when did you start thinking about getting in the beauty industry?
That didn't come till way later because I was heavy into sports at the time, and I was really good in sports. I ran track, football. I'm also, a champion at school that I went to as far as we won CIF, which is the highest, which is basically state. We won every game that we played my senior year. I just got inducted 2 years ago into the Football Hall of Fame. And so I started working in a bakery, making cookies for the Ritz-Carlton and cheesecake and all of that stuff. So I'm really good at cooking. I did that. And in the process, while I was doing that, that's when, I came into my own and get into the barber game. Now, I will say, Chin, I wasn't 21 yet. So I was 16 going on 17. I had just bought a brand new motorcycle that I wanted. and I broke up with my first love. And the reason why I broke up with my first love, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because this leads into how I got into the hair industry. One of my friends, Steve Robinson, told me, he said, man, you should start cutting hair like your mama. And I'm like, nah, man. He's like, nah, man, I think you'll be really good at it. And I'm like, nah, because it never was something I thought about doing. But I went upstairs because I started thinking about, like, maybe I could be like a barber. Never was something that crossed my mind ever. I never picked up a pair of clippers before. I never cut. The only time I picked up a pair of clippers because my mother was my barber and she was really good at it. But I went up and told my girlfriend, I think I know what I want to do for a living. And she was sleeping. Oh, well, she was laying down. And the song was Making Love in the Rain by Herb Alpert and Janet Jackson. And I told her I wanted to be a barber. And she said, you ain't going to be S-H-I-T. And a tear went across my nose bridge and went into my other eye. And that hurt me so much because the person that I believed in, the person that I loved the most besides my mother, and that was my first love. So I didn't know how to even manage my emotions. That hurt that she didn't believe in me. Then I went and called my best friend and told him that I wanted to go to barber school. And he said, why don't you go to school like everybody else? That ain't no real school. And I said, but it's a barber school. At that particular time, he was on his way to USC. So, and then everybody else was like, oh, you must be gay. And I'm like, well, what does a sexual orientation have to do with cutting hair? So it was very hard for me to take that and do that quest by myself. My mother was the only one that believed in me, Chan. And she said, you're going to be the best barber in the world. And my mom was the type, she always spoke things into existence. So she spoke this into existence. And she said, you're going to be one of the best that ever did it. At this place in time, I've put in over 37 years. My shop is, actually 38 years. My shop is 37 years old. And I went and became that barber. And in barber school is where I started, getting my skills up. And I got good really fast. And the school where I was going originally, Chan, closed down. And then once it closed down, I didn't know what I was going to do because they stole all of the money. So I didn't even have money to get back and the government wouldn't give me no more money. And so I cried and cried and cried and I didn't know what I was going to do. And there's no other schools around but in Hollywood. And I got a scholarship. God blessed me with a scholarship. And come to find out, Chan, that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I started, I was so good at that time. They cut out, Chan, they made a custom made station in the window of the school. The school was in the back. I didn't even cut with the other barbers. I was in the front of the school in a window, like display on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Las Palmas, which is only a block from the Chinese Theater, which just so happened to be dead center around Arista, Polygram, and all of the top record labels. And so all of the rap artists would come, and they were kids, and they would come into town to sign their record deals. There wasn't no such thing as Def Jam, and people signed, wasn't no Dirty South signing, wasn't no Master P. It was none of that. It was back then, it was Rob Bass and Big Daddy Kane and people like that were coming down here to sign record deals. And by me cutting in the window, they needed haircuts. And then I end up cutting like some of the dancers, and they would host them at the Holiday Inn, which is only a block. And I say, as soon as I finish, from school, I'll come over there. But when I would go upstairs, I'm not knowing that Big Daddy Kane was in the room. I'm not knowing that another time it'd be, Rob Bass. And then I remember the music because it was hot. It was out there, but a lot of the rappers pre them didn't even have their face on the album cover. So we only knew their music, like Run DMC. It was in a red cover and it said, it's like that, but we didn't see their faces and there was no music videos at the time. So I knew their sound because I heard them on the radio, but I didn't know their face. So once I heard their music, I'm like, yo, you Rob Bass. And, It Takes Two was out. I'm like, hey, man, that's Big Daddy Kane. And so that's how I end up coming into the career that I end up getting into was being a student and turning nothing down but my collar, being aggressive, motivated, and I was not going back to the project. That was for sure.
Now, when you was in school, you won a lot of awards. Was you in a lot of contests?
Yes. I was in what a lot of barbers have barber battles. There's no such thing as barber battles at the time. I was one of the only blacks competing at the time. So I had to compete with cosmetologists, and they would call it men's grooming. And because of the way that the competitions were, I was competing against different people from all over the world. I wasn't competing like from people from LA and New York. No. I was competing with Italy. I was competing against Paris. I was competing, or shall I say France. I was competing with different countries, not just the United States. And the average contestants were about 150 contestants. And it was only the top 5 win. and I was the only Black. I was very nervous. I was embarrassed. I was afraid because my instructor put me in these competitions and he flew me all over the world. And by me being the only Black, I felt like they were prejudiced because everybody was staring at me. The good thing about it is that the way that they judged was the judges were actually locked inside a big hall. So the judges never came out. The only way the judges seen the models was the models went into that room. They locked the door. They had security at the door. And all you were was a number. And so I would cuss my instructor out. I remember the first time that I competed, I was cussing up something terrible. And because I didn't want to be there. And he put me on stage. I didn't know what I was doing. He said, do that stuff I tell you not to do in school. I'm like, what is that? He's like, do the thing that you do. I'm like, what the, and at that time I was cussing. I was like, what the f- are you talking about? He's like, do the things that you do. And he's like, the stuff that I tell you don't do in school. And so he was talking about designs. And so I did a Gumby haircut and I put some crazy designs in the back. And I ended up winning first place. And that kind of sparked me. I was upset at him for even bringing me. But what I didn't understand is he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I think a lot of students need to understand. And I think a lot of people need to understand. Sometimes when people are telling you something, you need to understand that they really believe in you when you might not even believe in yourself. So sometimes you're telling people they need to shut up, but no, you might need to shut up and just listen to what they're trying to tell you because they might be trying to help you win. And you up here fighting the system. You're up here asking for help. You're asking God to change your life. And when they bring somebody in your life, you end up turning them away because you don't like their system or you don't like what they said or you don't like because they make you get up early in the morning. But I end up winning 6 consecutive times back to back all over the world. The owner of the school keeps the trophies, but they let me keep all my trophies. They also let me keep my winning. From there, my attitude got even more grossly affected because I felt like I was invincible at that point. I wasn't arrogant, but I was very confident. And when I went in there, I knew that I was going to whoop anybody that was standing in my way. And I did just that. But it was not like the barber battles that we have today. And I thank God that I was one of the ones who were able to pave the way for what we do today. American Salon, they wouldn't even, at that time, they didn't even want to put me in the damn magazine. And then they used a different name knowing I'm the winner, but it is what it is. But, there was some forms of racism that was sprinkled around, but you couldn't deny the skill. And that is what made me a barber who was to be reckoned with here in the United States.
Now, you started cutting a lot of celebrities too, but then, you started making a whole lot of money at a very young age.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Age of 21 years old, I was already a millionaire. I was buying things that I couldn't afford when I was younger. I was purchasing Rolex watches. I had at least 6 Rolex watches at the time. And the reason why is because I was living like I was a rock star. I was living like the rap artist because, you had guys like Jacob the Jewelers on the private planes that we were on and was selling $1 million worth of jewelry so he could throw, the little hairstylists and, the little hanger-outer guys, the little entourage, $30,000-$40,000 watches for $20,000-$25,000 at the time. So I was a part of that, buying those things because I was caught up. Funny thing I didn't write a song. I didn't write a rap album. I didn't go platinum. I wasn't getting any residual income from it, but I was spending like I was a rock star. That happens when there's no guidance. That happens when there's no mentorship. That happens when you make more money than anybody in your whole entire family. So they don't understand the level that you have once you get to that level of money. What do they tell you when they never invested in ever? They don't know about stocks. They don't know about bonds. They don't know about IRAs. All they can tell you to do is save your money. But I was making so much of it. I mean, it was coming daily. In certain cases, I was making $10,000 a week with one client, and all I would do is fly in and do that client once a week, and I was getting 10 grand. So I made a lot of money, and by 21 years old, I opened my shop up when I was 19. I was busy like heck. It was probably a 2 to 3 month wait to get into my chair if you wasn't a regular. I was working on the Arsenio Hall show. I was working on the Robert Townsend show. I couldn't go wrong. I couldn't do no wrong in the industry. Plus, I was doing every rap video. When rap videos start to show up, I was one of the top out of Stacy Cuts, Pierce Austin, Conrad Hip Hop. Hands down, we were probably the top 4 barbers in the rap industry at the time that we did probably damn near every rap video there is. They're all still glowing and growing right now. By 23 years old, I already had 3 shops. By 23 years old, I lost all my money. In less than 700 days, I figured out a way to lose all my money because of taxes and the way I was spending my money. But the thing is I knew how to make it. And so it didn't do anything to me, Chin. I mean, I could cry over spilt milk. My thing was, what's the use of crying when I can just go get another glass? My thing was, it was like, okay, what did you do wrong? I reassessed and reevaluated what happened. I didn't understand who my uncle was. My accountant told me that I owe my uncle, $400,000. I don't have no uncle. He passed away. I told my mother. So I was in New York when he called me and told me I owed that type of money. I flew back home and I told my mom to come with me. And when he explained who Uncle Sam was, I said, I don't have no uncle named Sam. Mom, tell him. And I was like, for sure, like, tell him. And then my mom reached in my ear and says, that's taxes. And I was like, taxes? And nobody really told me, Chin, because I made so much money so fast and it was like under the radar. But some people, record companies and TV shows were actually cutting checks. And so, out of $1 million, you owe 400,000. And it's like, and I spent 600 already. So I don't have nothing left. So I gave him what I had, which was about that much. From that point on, I had to figure out a way not to be taken advantage of ever again. I figured out a way to get up under mentors who can show me another way to work my money instead of my money working me. I had to learn how to create wealth and keep it. So when I went to school, I went back to college, and the college I went to was called Barnes and Noble, which is a bookstore. I didn't go to an actual college. I went and I read every book on finance, and I ended up becoming a student, a master for students. I would say I got my doctorate in education based off of reading books so I would not be taken advantage of ever again. And nobody literally took advantage of me. I took advantage of myself. But when people know that you are wasteful and when people know that you don't know how to manage your money, people are going to throw things in your face. Thank God I was released from Gucci. I thank God I was released from Rolex. I thank God I was released from all of the fancy name brand clothes, because that stuff is what's going to break you. I mean, it's all good to have that stuff. It's great if you can afford it. But I'd say if you learn to live below your means and you learn to invest your money, you won't find yourself in a bad place. You won't find yourself in debt. You won't find yourself over your budget. You won't find yourself with, owing a bunch of credit cards. It's stressful when you don't have no money. It's stress. Chin, it messes with your psyche. It messes with your, people are depressed because of money. People are depressed because of a lack thereof of money. People are depressed because they're not getting the things that they want out of life, but they're working their ass off for it. These are all of the things is because a lot of us are making the money and we can really make that money grow for us. But the problem is we're not living below our means. We're living above our means. And what that means is, Chin, is a lot of people are trying to keep up with the Joneses. But I don't know, me personally, I'm quite sure some people out here on your Zoom that might know of some people whose last name is Jones that might be rich and or wealthy. I never met a Jones that is rich and or wealthy. And I'm not saying that there's not Joneses that are rich or wealthy, but I've never met one. What I'm saying to you is that term, keeping up with the Joneses, is very true, is because everybody's trying to keep up with what's hot. Everybody's trying to keep up with what's Cardi doing. Everybody's trying to keep up with Megan Thee Stallion. Everybody's trying to keep up with Puffy. Everybody's trying to keep up with Pacino. Everybody. Why don't you want to keep up with yourself? Why not say, you know what? This ain't my lane. Why not stay in your own lane? Why not try to say, you know what? I need to build a legacy for my family. And the way you do that is not following other people. The way you do that is get in alignment. The way you do that is take time. For me, I'm a firm believer of prayer. I'm a firm believer of faith. So for me, instead of me telling God what I want to do, but the thing is that a lot of times when we pray, we've never been taught to pray. Some people have, but a lot of people haven't. Same way we weren't taught finance. So when you pray, a lot of times we pray for God to bless me, bless my family, for health and wealth. And, could you give me a better job? And God, could you do this? And what you're asking God to do is a to-do list. Funny thing is that once you finish praying, you say amen and you get up and you walk away. But did you ever just chill? Did you ever just kick back? Did you ever just wait a minute? Did you ever just pause? Did you ever kick it for past, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes and wait on God to give you his marching orders, give you his orders that he wants you to do for him? Because if you want your stuff, but see, the funny thing is all you're doing is telling God jokes. He did tell you, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find. Problem is you constantly asking, but did you ask him, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to bless the world? What do you need me to do for you? Right? And God will tell you that, and God will give you your purpose. And once he gives you your purpose, then you have a plan. Once you have a plan, now you know what to do. And your passion is the gas is going to get you to go there. But the problem is a lot of times we're just asking, but we're not waiting for what he wants us to do. And so a lot of times we're doing jobs that we really don't want to be in, is because we're not living in our purpose. It's because you never asked what you're supposed to do. A lot of us, Chan, are wasting our time doing things that we have no business doing, but we want to level up. We want to be wealthy. We want to have a better life. We want to have a better financial stability. We want better for our families, but you ain't not one time unwrapped your gift that God gave you. You might be good at something, but is that what he wants you to do? I know, Chan, for a fact, beyond of a shadow of a doubt, that he wanted me to be a barber, but he didn't want me just to be a barber. He wanted me to empower people. He wanted me to gift people with wisdom. That means I had to read. That means I had to have a purpose. Not only that, he put people in alignment with me so I could run into them, which were those elder barbers who taught me real fundamentals. They taught me how to clean a shop. They taught me how to be respectful. They taught me how to clean around a toilet that most people don't want to do. They taught me how to be responsible. They taught me how to be on time. See, Chan, all of these things is once I became a barber, a real barber. Not a dude cutting hair for celebrities, but once I became a real barber and got in alignment, I do. And God told me the reason why I gave you all of these things, the reason why I gave you a Ferrari, the reason why I gave you a Benz, the reason why I gave you a Porsche, the reason why I gave you all of these classic cars is because people are going to be watching you. All I need you to do is tell them where you got it from. And once I started getting in line, I'm not just saying, yeah, the Lord gave it to me. No. I started living that life too. And I started giving more and expecting nothing in return. I started loving more. I started doing those things. And I still was rough around the edges, Chan. I still had to polish myself up. Chan, let me tell you something. While I was making all of that money, I was rough around the edges. But he was polishing me. He was working on me. He was smoothing out my edges. And once I got smooth, I didn't get smooth. And I know exactly when it happened, Chan. I was 40. 40 years old is when I became smooth. Once I became 40 years old, I remember to the day when it happened. And my life changed. Things got better for me. I wasn't chasing money anymore. I used to chase money, Chan, and I didn't have any balance. I didn't care who I hurt. And what I mean by that is I had amazing women in my life. Beautiful, beautiful women on the inside and on the outside. And people were like, man, DL's girlfriend, fine as hell. But then DL didn't spend no time with him because I was always at the barbershop working. They would ask me, do you want to go to this premiere? I have tickets to every movie premiere because half the people I was doing was in the movie. But Chin, do you think I went to the red carpet? No, because I was back at my shop or I was flying around with somebody. And I never spent the time with people. And I'm telling you, as people who are listening right now, please understand that there has to be some type of balance in your life. There has to be some type of not only balance, but boundaries. I call it the double B, boundaries and balance. And those boundaries I had to say, no, I'm not going to be cutting hair today, or no, I'm going to stop at this certain time. I mean, my girlfriend bought tickets. She bought tickets to Prince. We had tickets for 3 days straight because she was a Prince fan. And do you know I gave those tickets away, Chin? She bought them for me and her. I told her to take her friends because I did not want to leave my guest, my client. And that man died. Thank God, because I was working at Arsenio, I got to see him perform, like really go with a small crowd. But the thing was, Chin, she did that for me. She did that for us. And because I'm so caught up with trying to make so much money, And I had nice things. I had nice cars. I had money. I had everything that you needed, but I didn't have balance. To the point, Chin, at 36 years old, I almost had a heart attack. And while I had all of this stuff hooked up to me and I got numbing on my left side and my hands was tingling, what I did, Chin, was instead of going to the doctor, I messed around and just went and took some Pepto-Bismol. Pepto is for your upset stomach. That ain't got nothing to do with my arm. That ain't got nothing to do with the tingling. It took a client who was older who was saying, why do you keep grabbing your hand? And I said, man, I got this funny tingle in my hand. And he turned around and he said, it ain't the left side, is it? And I said, yeah, how'd you know? He pulled the cape off, head half done. He said, go to the doctor right now. You about to have a heart attack or a stroke. I said, man, no, I'm not. Chin, at that time, DL was ripped to shreds. I'm talking about I had not a 6. I had like a 12 pack all the way down damn near to my nut. I worked out and I worked at the shop. I worked out and worked. I only slept the average of 3 hours to 4 hours a day. 4 hours is long for me. But what I didn't do, Chin, I didn't rest. I didn't eat well. I didn't eat healthy. And Chin, I almost died. And then the funny thing is that Chin, I had the nerve to say, while they're putting all of this stuff on me, I had the nerve to say, how long is this going to take? Because I got a full book at the shop. I'm about to die and got all of this stuff and people trying to work on me. And I'm like, how much longer? See, the devil wanted me with him. So kill him. The doctor said the only reason why you're alive today is because you were getting signals constantly. They was constantly sending you signals, but because I was so healthy at the time, Chin, because I was so fit at the time, it preserved me. But if I was out of shape and had a gut and not working and exercising, I would have died on the spot. And the reason why I'm opening it up to you is because Chin said, D, we're gonna talk. But I'm letting you know some things that people don't know about me. And I'm telling you, money is not going to make you happy. And if you're going to be successful, you want to try to be happy. Stop trying to chase the money. Find a way to be happy. Find a way to have peace in your life. Find a way to say, you know what, I am thankful for what I have today. I might not be rich. I might not be wealthy. I might be driving a Honda. I might be driving a Yugo. I might be driving a car that's barely getting me to work and back with no AC. But man, you got AC. Roll the damn window down. Roll the window down. But I'm telling you is once you get your fundamentals together, once you say you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, once you say I need to have boundaries around my life, once you say, you know what, I'm worth more than what I'm charging. Once you say I don't have to be here all day, I can charge this amount and get 10 or 12 people that pay me this, then I can make my $500 or my $1,000 a day. Once you start getting into that mode, your life is going to change. Once you get in that mode and say, I need time to spend time. But if you would ask me, DL, what do you regret? I regret not spending time with people that I love. Now, from 40 on, I did way better. I had boundaries. I started working 3 days a week instead of working 6 to 7 days a week. I wasn't doing all of the stuff that I was doing before. But Chin, I had to come to, my father calls it a come to Jesus meeting. My father told me, I didn't come up this with myself. I just bought a brand new convertible Porsche. I was taking my dad out for a ride in it. We got a flat tire. I told my dad, he said, hey, we need to pull over because you got a flat. I said, nah, Dad, we good. We can drive over 100 miles on a flat tire and we still straight. He said, nah, just pull it over. We need to talk. And my dad is like a woman. If he say you need to talk, and any man that's listening to this right now, and if you're of age, you know what I mean. When a woman tell you we need to talk, you in trouble. Believe that. She getting ready to break it down and make it broke. And she going to test you and quiz you after she finishes telling you what she got to say. And my father told me that you don't have a life. So what the hell are you talking about? I don't have a life. He said, every girl you ever dated, where did you meet her at? Hair show or barbershop? He said, you ain't never dated nobody outside of your business. When the last time? He said, how many motorcycles you got? At that time, I had 3 Harleys. He said, when the last time you went up the coast and took your girl and had her ride with you? When the last time you did that? I couldn't remember. He said, and at that time, Chin, I think I had maybe 17, 18 cars, all of them convertible. He said, when the last time you took your girl for a drive? Chin, honestly, I couldn't remember. My father went, he got something to drink, and I cried something terrible because he was right. He was right. I didn't have a life. I had things, but no life. And I'm telling you, as a man, as a king who stepped into his position, who stepped into his place, it was tough not knowing that I didn't have a life. And it gets emotional. It gets emotional sometimes because I could have did better with my life. I could have spent more time with people that I loved. And I took all of those years and I gave those years to customers that really, some of them didn't even care about me. They just wanted a cut. If something was to happen to me, they're going to get a new customer, a new barber. I got a wonderful, beautiful mom. I took care of her. I got her a house. But did I spend in my 20s and my 30s, did I spend the time with my mom? No, I gave her things. I bought her things. So I'm saying that you have to create boundaries so you can live the life that you want to live. And those things happen, Chin, because I didn't want to go back to the projects. I didn't want to go back to the way that made me feel of living in lack. I didn't want to go back to people breaking in our houses and stealing all of the toys. I didn't want to go back to that. And so my mind was locked and loaded on success. But I didn't even know what success was because nobody ever told me what it was. I just thought you were successful if you had them. I thought back then, Chin, if you had American Express, I thought you was a millionaire. I didn't know because I only seen white people on TV with an American Express. I never seen a black man with that green card. I didn't even know that there was cars even higher than that. They don't even advertise black cars now. I didn't know about credit. I didn't know the power of what credit could do. But the minute I went to go buy a house, they wouldn't sell me one. The minute that I went to go buy a car, they wouldn't sell it to me. So I just, I went and paid cash. Every car I ever bought, I paid cash for it. I bought $1 million Ferrari. But what I'm saying, Chin, is because I was nobody until I owed somebody something. And that's credit. That's the game of credit. But what they've done to us as African-American men and African-American women, what they've done to us is they put us in a place where they gave us a whole bag of checkers when they playing chess with our life. That's what they did. They're playing chess while we playing checkers. And that is no good. That's a no-go, Joe. That is a no-go. So what I'm saying, Chin, is my 20s was great. I don't remember the downtime. I only remember the work time. But now I understand boundaries. Now I understand how to live a better life. Now that's where I'm at with it.
And then in 2014, you came out with this.
Pocket Game. Pocket Game. Yes, sir.
I still got my book from
sir.
CT Barber Expo.
Yes. That book has already 4 editions. That book, that's the first one. You got a collector's item there, Chin. That book, the reason why I wrote that book is because, losing the money was hard, but I knew how to make it back. And because I've read and I studied, I created my own program. And at the time, my girlfriend, Tasha, at the time when I was writing that book, she was doing her method. And the method is basically 60 to 80% of all barbers and hairstylists retire broke. And I was a part of that. They say the average barber and stylist, if they put in 10 years, Chin, 10 years, the average barbers and hairstylists don't have $1,000 in their bank. That's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. But not really hard to believe. I had the money. I was just spending it at a rapid pace. I was that 0.1%. But the bottom line is it don't matter how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And I had to learn how to keep money, Chin. That's an art. How to keep the money, not what you make. How are you keeping it? How are you divvying it up? Are you paying yourself first? So what I came up with, because of all of the books I read that my mom made me read, I figured out a program that it would work for barbers and hairstylists. Take your first haircut, your first hairstyle, and put it in your back pocket. But because a lot of barbers don't know how to count, I'll say that one more time. A lot of barbers don't know how to count. So I did it at an even to zero, $20 a day for 5 days. The average barber works 5 days is $100 for the week. Times that times 4 weeks is 400. Times it times 12 is just shy of 5,000. Times it times 10 years, when the average barber and stylist in 10 years only have 1,000, you'll have just shy of $50,000 in your account if you just do your first. Now, my ex at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, she's my ex now, but my girlfriend at the time, she was able to save, $10,000 in 3 months. But that's not because she was doing her first hairstyle. I'm telling you, whatever you charge, if it's 20, if it's 30, if it's 50, if it's 100, separate that from everything else. Pay yourself first before you pay American Express, before you pay Jordan, before you pay Apple, before you pay your electric, before you pay your phone bill. Pay you first, and then put percentage of that, pay God. So now you went in on the spiritual side, you went in on the worldly side.
Now tell us about the book.
Mm-hmm.
Started selling it.
Chin, the book is only 41 pages, and it became a bestseller. And first day that I got the book was on a Saturday. I was so excited when I received the book. And so I took off work around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, around between 2 and 3. And I went to every barbershop in my city of Pasadena. Majority of the barbershops in the city that I live in, majority of them came from me, right? I have great relationships, so I thought, with the barbers, because we talk all the time, whatever. But Saturday, I know all of them paid because all of them were amazing, great barbers. But I didn't know how much to charge for the book, Chin, because I didn't even get that far. I just was so excited that the book was finished. It was complete, and I can actually sell the book. So I went and started pitching the book to all of the barbers. And at that time, Chin, I started out at $5. $5. Nobody would buy the book. Then I went to $10. By 4 o'clock, I went up to 10. If they wasn't buying it at 5, I was going up. I didn't have a price. So 2 barbers bought it at 10. And I thank God for those 2 brothers. But they weren't barbers. They came from my shop. I knew of them, but they invested in that book. Every single, and all of them just so happened to be African American. Every single shop I went to in the whole city, nobody would buy the book but those 2 gentlemen. I debuted the book on Sunday. I flew to Vegas. And at the Exotics Barber Battle, I debuted the book there. So I had my book released at the Exotic Barber Battle. First couple hours, Chin, nobody bought the book. They picked it up. And then by then, I was like $20. I don't care. Let's go for broke. 41 pages. It's an easy read. One person picked it up, put it down. Another person picked it up, put it down. Then this Latin kid picked the book up. He left with the book. He paid me the money. Next thing you know, Chin, he came back with 3 or 4 of his friends. And then they bought the book. I would say by 3 o'clock, Chin, I was sold out. And then everybody, and I wasn't big social media at the time either. So I didn't understand how Instagram worked. And people start posting when they were on the plane, when they were back at the hotel. And the book blew up to the moon. And I mean, it blew up fast. And people started calling me from all over the world, Australia, Africa, New Zealand. And everybody wanted this book. But then they started to see me speak, and then they wanted me to also come speak. So not only did I sell the book, but they were flying me out to all over the world. And that's where I met you at the CT Barber Battle. And at that time, Chin, I didn't even have a booth. And you stepped up and said, "Hey, man, you selling that book?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And you guys, I want you to know something. Chin didn't even know me from a can of paint. And he said, "Man, look, man, you can put your books on my booth." And Chin had a 50-yard line seat where his station was, where his booth was. He was at the 50. Great location. And then he started giving up deals to sell my book and his book at the same time. And I can't thank you enough for doing that for me, Chin. And so they sold out. I think Chin had maybe 1 or 2 books left when we left the CT Barber Battle. I wasn't even there. I didn't stay at Chin's booth not 1 minute. I was walking around, shaking hands and kissing babies at that time. Everybody wanted to meet me. Everybody wanted to know me. Everybody wanted to take a picture with me. And so I was out politicking while Chin was selling books for me and for himself. So that ended up turning into a whole nother animal. And sadly, and I hate to say this, but it wasn't the African-American people that was buying my book. It was Latin and Asian. The Black population didn't come till later, after everybody started like, well, guess I need to read this. Let me see what it is. But once they found out how powerful the book was, then they started buying. But it's sad that my own people wouldn't even invest $20 in a book that would be life-changing.
Tell us about that house and that boat.
Okay. Which one? Which boat? The orange one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm an outdoor person, so when I'm a firm believer of working hard, play even harder. I'm a firm believer of if you put in the work, then you should be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I was big on boats, cars, motorcycles, you name it, I was in it. So it wasn't flossing for me. I didn't care about what other people thought. I designed things for me and only me. Just so happened that the population out there loved the stuff that I designed. So from Harley Davidson custom made Harleys to custom made boats, I had that boat built from the ground up. And, it's a 575 supercharged boat. It burns 1 gallon a minute. It's super duper fast. Below deck, you have 2 love seats, a bed, and a bar. It's a dream. The inside the paint, I paid $35,000 for just the paint job, but that paint is custom. And inside that paint, and what you probably don't see, Chin, about that paint job, what you see is purple. But when the sun is on the paint, there's over 1,000 skulls. And in those 1,000 skulls, we cut out credit cards. So we got used credit cards, and we cut out the credit cards, that little illumination thing, that little silver little thing, we cut that out, which took a lot of time. It took a lot of people to do it. And inside of the skulls, what we did was we put that little symbol of whatever that credit card is inside the eyes of every skull. The bolt is called invested. And what that means is so many people went to the cemetery and took their dreams with them. They took plans that were never beyond the drawing board, books that were never written, paintings that were never painted, ideas that never went beyond their thoughts. That's why there's skulls all throughout the boat. You never see the skulls unless the sun hits it. And if the sun hits it, wherever you walk, the skulls will follow you. So everywhere you walk, they'll actually, the eyes will follow you as you walk. So it looks like they're all looking at you. So that boat was designed for people who never lived their dreams. That's why I call it invested. And so, my house, God gave me that house. My best friend, I got it from my best friend. He played for the Atlanta Hawks and a lot of people. He gave 14 years, and I thank God for him. So he sold me the house. I bought the house, and it's on the water. And I've had the house almost 25 years now. Who would ever thought that, I'd have bought the house that long ago? And at that time, Chan, believe it or not, I only paid $200,000 for it, and now it's worth millions. This was crazy, right? But that was after I learned to invest in myself. And so I kept the property, and I was buying properties at that time. When I bought that property, I was probably averaging between 6 to 8 properties a month. So it's funny because, people are like, dang, you was buying all them houses. Yeah, but actually I wasn't really buying houses, even though I purchased the houses. But even the house that I have, the one that you're talking about, none of those houses belong to me, Chan. Not my mama's house, not my house, not the income properties. Those houses belong to God. I'm just a manager of those properties. And so I'm just being a good steward and managing and maintaining his stuff for him. So I get the benefit of staying in it, and I get the benefit of playing with it. I get the benefit of riding on it, but I'm just maintaining God's things. It's a lot of times people say mine, but it's not my stuff. It's really God's stuff, and I'm just a manager of it. That property also I rented out of VRBO, which is basically another Airbnb. I make a nice little piece of change for it. It's where my passive comes in. And that's where I'm at now. Chan is trying to help people get passive income to outweigh their work income. A lot of people have jobs, and jobs. I don't want anybody to have a job. I don't believe in having a job. And people say, well, how am I going to make money if you preach and not have a job? Well, I'm really not preaching. I'm just telling you the truth. Job stands for just over broke. And so anybody I know that has a job, most of them are just getting by. They're just barely making it. If their car, or the motor go, or transmission go, they're going to either have to resort to a credit card or borrow money from family and friend because you got a job. But when you have a career, you have an unlimited stream of income. It's how you want to play it. It's how you want to do it. It's how much you want to charge for it. Once you become valuable, and your value will dictate how much you could charge, the experiences that you give people, no matter what the job is, people will pay for premium experiences, not for premium services. And premium services and premium experiences work hand in hand. I believe customer service is the most important thing out there in my industry. I think if you treat people right, you're going to get treated right. Happy people do happy things. And so you can create other streams of income through your purpose. A lot of us are designed to do what we do in the hair industry and in other industries as well. And that purpose is what's going to help you pay for your passive income. But the problem is a lot of people are not willing to reinvest in themselves or in their dreams, their passive dreams, because of fear, false evidence appearing real. And you can't do that. Scare money don't make no money. You got to get out there, do your research, talk to people who's doing whatever it is you want to do. And then you go after it like your life depended on it.
Now, that juice fade that you invented or created, can you tell us about that?
The juice fade. Well, thing about that is this, Chan. I didn't create the juice fade. Okay. I created a part of the juice fade. Now, let me explain that. Back then, all of the haircuts were steps. They were straight up and square and then drop down and another step and drop down and another step. Those were called steps and they're called levels. So when I got the opportunity and Pop talked to me about, him doing the movie, I didn't even know he was an actor because at that time he was a dancer and he had just started dancing for Digital Underground. And so I had no idea that he went to the School of Arts and, he trained for this kind of stuff. So what we did is he came in and we did a test shoot. And with the test shoot, I had him fly down. He was up in the Bay. I had him fly down. And what I did was at that time, he had a level. It was straight up, it was square, and dropped down, and it dropped this way and dropped down. So what I did was I took off the two levels that he had over here. I took them off and I rounded because the levels were dropping in like this. So what I did is I went to the lowest part and I brought it up like an afro and I swung it into the part. And I took all of the edges off and I rounded those edges. And then he had a lot of hair up here and I rounded all of the top part. I rounded it in and I dropped it down into that part. And so that's how the juice fade was created. Now, so in other words, I can't take credit for something that was already there. All I did was added my funk to it. And that was rounding all of those edges. Nobody's ever done that before. And so that's what started this craze. But he couldn't have a fly haircut. So because he couldn't have a fly haircut, what I ended up doing was I took a towel. We didn't have sponge brushing and I messed it all up. I didn't give him sharp lines because in the script, he was a stick-up kid. So I couldn't give him sharp haircut, sharp lines because it wouldn't go along with this poor kid in New York. So I took a wet towel and I messed it all up and I shook it, not to give it a curly look, just not look like he was freshly cut. And he took pictures, he sent it out, they liked it, and the rest is history.
Tell us about all the movies sets you've been working on, because you still work on movie sets, doing stuff for people.
Yeah, well, at that time, I had a lot of movies under my belt. And, the thing about movies and television shows, a lot of times people will say, well, how can you take credit for something you didn't do? Well, when you're dealing with a movie, there's so many different hands that's in play in order to get a movie done. And so I've done, from all the clumps, I've done, put it like this, for 20 years of Eddie Murphy's 20 years when he was hot doing all of his movies, 20 of those years I was on the set doing the hair as well. Now, I wasn't, because at that time, Stacy's his barber, main barber. She's been his barber for, I would say, at least the last 15 or maybe going on 20. But at that time, it was Scott Julian and then it was Leland Sharp. So he had many barbers pre-Stacy, but I was cutting the stunt doubles. So my job was I was what you call a copycat. So I'm really good at reproducing any haircut I see. So they would send me pictures front, back, and side, and I would reproduce that haircut to identical to the doubles, the stand-ins, and the stunt doubles. And so all of those haircuts had to match up to do what he had to do. A lot of the times you would see Eddie Murphy in the clump suit. That wasn't even Eddie. That was Roger Reed, I've done for 20 plus years. So I get credit for, working on the movie because of what I did for the show. So there's a lot of movies that went under that umbrella. TV shows now that I'm on is a number one show, CW, which is called All American. And, I was the last 4 episodes of last season and I did all of this season. It's probably one of the best shows I've ever been on. They're my family. I love all of the young men on that show and the girls, and they all call me Unc. And I help them with their finances and I help them buy houses. And it's been a very interesting experience to be able to love on people who are not Hollywood. They're just lovable young men and young women, and they're impressionable, and you can help them become better so they don't fall into the trappings that I fell into. And now I'm going to be leaving All American, unfortunately, and I didn't want to leave. I will say that. And it hurt me. I literally wanted to cry because the showrunner, whose show it is, wants me to go to the spinoff and do Homecoming. And she wants me to help those young actors the way I help the actors on All American, to steer them in the right direction. So I'm not just the barber on the show. I'm not just somebody there, but I'm also a mentor to everybody there. And that's my job, is not only to cut, but to mentor. And so that's the reason why they're having me leave All American. But all of the people on All American, all of the actors do not want me to go. They fought over me to not go. And then the new ones were like, well, we need him over here. And then the executive producers made the executive call and said, look, we need him to help us get these kids straight. So I'll be leaving and I'm going over there. And but the funny thing is, Jen, God has blessed me and I am possibly up for an Emmy this season. So who would ever thought a barber from the projects would now be possibly in the runnings to win an Emmy? So, so that's my life. So I know you got a lot of other questions. I'm quite sure they do, because you guys got a whole bunch of privates. A lot of people didn't get it. But before this is over, I would love to talk about passive income. I would love to talk about how to create that passive income. I would love to have a conversation with people about living within their means to create the passive income.
Now, all those cars that you got, them 20 cars, because I remember you picked me up in a convertible when I came to California. Can you tell us about all them cars?
I built those cars by hand. They're hobbies for me. They're not like what most people think, to have those kind of cars, $100,000 cars. But this was a place where I was able to go and create things, right? And so I'm very big on creating, welding. And a lot of people don't know that about me, but I'm an artist, for real. And when Erykah Badu says she's an artist and she's sensitive about her stuff, that's me. I am that. Somebody said, do you make money with the cars? Well, let me put it like this. For every car that I have, I sold one of those cars to buy a property. That's how I was able to buy the properties I have. And when you're selling cars for $150,000, $120,000, $130,000, that's a nice down payment on something. So I wasn't one of those ones who was buying cars and that's all I had, because I learned from my mistakes. So what I did was, as I build them for me as a hobby. But the cars that I'm selling now are cars that people just got to have. And they say, look, I don't care what it costs. I want it. Most of my cars went to celebrities because they the ones had the money right there on the spot, or they weren't black. And the reason why is because for some reason, which understandable, they don't understand what it takes because they're not car people. They just like fancy stuff and shiny stuff. And I'm not saying all black people, but I'm saying about the customers that I have that buy my cars. They know what the car is. They're a fan of the car. They understand where the car originated from. They know what type of motors came in the car. They know everything about the car. So, but I will say Puffy did buy one of my Corvettes and he paid a nice piece of change for it. And I was able, Chin, that house that you were talking about, that's how I bought that house. But not only did I buy that house, I bought a triplex also, which is the biggest triplex in the city at the time. I bought that as well, off of selling that car. So when I sell a car, I don't reinvest in another car. I sell the car and I purchase properties with it. So, but I do 9 times out of 10, like I was just in a suit and I had this in because I hadn't unpacked since I was traveling, but I was in another suit earlier for a documentary that somebody was shooting and they wanted my interview. But normally I'm barefooted. I rarely ever wear shoes. I don't hardly ever wear shoes. And I turn my music on and I go in my garage and I make things like, let me take you over here right quick to give you an idea. So this is my office, right? And some of my stuff. I don't know if you can see that. Right. And so these are articles that I wrote. Here are different books of the Pocket Game, the different versions. That was from New Zealand. So in here, Chin, what I'm getting ready to show you, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that table?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a 1902 saw, right? Mm-hmm. I made that table. I don't know if you can see it from a distance. Let me see. So I made this table. I welded it. I did everything with it, right? And so this is like the outside part of my office, like the lobby area. And these are all Cadillacs. Right. So, and this is just where I come and get my mind right. And so this here, what you're looking at right here, is from an old 1929 Ford that I had. And these are the headlights, and I turned them into a lamp. And I welded stuff that people don't get to see that I do. Hold on a second. I'll just give you a sneak peek because you guys you've seen some of this stuff, Chan. But I ain't gonna give you the whole thing because I don't want everybody all in my business. But some of these cars you've seen me drive already, so I can show you some of those. But this is a 1960 Corvette that I built from the ground up. This is the interior of it. This is a 1964 Corvette. And then this is a 1962 Corvette. This is an all original Corvette. The paint on it is original. It's never been changed. The only thing was changed on this thing was the tires. This is an original Corvette, that all original. The paint is original. The interior is original. So I'm a big kid at heart, Chan. You know what I mean? I'm a very, very big kid at heart with my toys. But I'm thankful because it all came from doing hair. And that's that. You know, graduation, 1987. This is a graduation present that I have not. It only has 80,000 miles on it. I barely drive it, right? But this is a Porsche. I don't remember what I picked you up in, Chin. I don't even remember.
Picked up in a Porsche. It was a convertible Porsche.
Yeah, it might have been that one. I don't know. But I had a couple Porsche. So, but yeah. So those are just toys, you know, that I had and I enjoy building. And but the same way I build cars is the same way I build the houses. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. And this is what I do in my mentorship class. And this is how I help people get their credit life in order and they build things. So for example, this is how a property starts. So this is my property in Dallas, right? This is downtown Dallas. So this is the first one that I bought. And then I end up buying this one here as well, right? Here actually states, this is a folder. This is old school. So this actually states when I bought it. So I bought this property September 5th, 2006 at the Dallas courthouse, right? So this is what it looked like once I finished it. It's 3 levels, right? And this was my office and my house that I lived in when I would come to Dallas to buy properties. On the inside, because I'm a firm believer of keeping receipts, this is my HOA stuff. This is the receipts of buying the property. This is everything that I spent on the property. Every receipt, no matter if it had anything to do with that property, it's in here. Every single receipt, and I have it for every year. Then let me skip past this, Chin, to furniture. So all of the furniture that I put in. So my tax person don't have no problem messing with me because all I got to do is throw them in this folder, right? So you see all of this. These are every receipt on every piece of furniture, electronic, designs for the wood floors, every single thing. Then let's move over to the flights. So here's every flight that I've ever taken to fly down to Texas to work on this property. Every single receipt, and it's front and back, right? Every single flight that I took all the way to the rental cars. And so, and this goes for every single property. So when you go, and then also I forgot to show you this. And this has insurances, every insurance. And then you also have the keys to the property, right? But here's the beauty of it. I want to show you the beauty of it, Sharon. Let me get to that. And this is what I believe that everybody should want. Let me get to that, Sharon. Hold on 1 second.
Now, you paid a dude a lot of money to learn how to do that property. It was what, like $40,000 or $50,000. You remember?
What's that?
You remember that guy that taught you about property who you paid all that money?
Oh yeah, man. Shoot, I can show you that receipt right now. What I want to show you is that, but I have it in another folder too, so I can show you there. But every one of these properties are paid for. I don't have no mortgages on them. They're paid for, right? Because I don't believe in carrying that kind of debt. What you're talking about is the education. Let me see if I have it in here. I just had that one too, Chan. Hold on one second. So what Chan was talking about, you guys, was a class that my friend allowed me to take. He was teaching a class, but he wasn't teaching it to everybody. I asked him if he would teach me. And he said he would, and come to find out, this was my other best friend. And I helped him throughout high school. You know, we was, like thick and thin. I mean, we was thick as thieves. But the funny thing is, folks, this is what he charged me. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see this, Chan?
50,000 in 2007.
Okay. See that? So what this is a check that he came back and I paid $50,000 for that class. And not only did I pay the $50,000, but I had to pay for his flights for every time we flew, and I had to pay for the rent-a-car. So it was probably another $1,200 total for everything. So when I hear people screaming and hollering about the little $97 classes and $200 or $1,500 classes, stop crying and go on and pay the money. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when I wrote that check, I didn't hesitate, right? But the funny thing is, Chan, in 3 months of us going down there, I made way over $200,000, but I invested the 50, right? And so, and mind you, this was 2007.
January.
So this is January 12th, 2007. So just imagine in 2007, that could have been close to today's numbers. That could have been almost $75,000 back then that I paid. And so, that's why I trip off people crying about booth rent, and I trip off people crying about commission. I mean, Chan, people have no idea. When I was working, my first job, when I first graduated from a barber school, I was like, again, I was busy as hell. I was charging top dollar for cuts. I was doing designs with probably between $150 and $350 for designs at that time. That was 88. And people up here hollering and screaming about commission and booth rent. Let me tell you, Chan, I was paying in between $3,200 and $3,800 a week in commission. And she was getting 60-40. She was getting 40. I was getting 60. I was giving that woman $3,200 to $3,800 a week. So when I hear barbers hollering and screaming and crying, shut your damn mouth. Be quiet. Why don't you just make more money instead of complaining? You quit the barbershop because they charge you extra $20, $25. If you got a millionaire mindset, you're like, that ain't no money. That's literally a half of a haircut or maybe a haircut. And you crying and want to quit. Now you want to go get a suite. Now you want to go get a damn studio. You need to knock it off, because back then I was getting that paper, pay per, and I'm still getting it to this day because I'm a master barber. And guess what, Chan? I believe in me. I'm not sitting back and I'm not waiting on somebody's permission to tell me I'm good. I'm good because I say I'm good. I might be the worst barber in the world, but to me, I'm amazing. I'm going to show up on time. My mom tell me, and my dad always tell me, if you're on time, you're early. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're just late. See, the thing about this is, Chan, I got receipts. I keep them. I keep receipts, right? When we doing Airbnb, let me show you, Chan. Hold on a second. Let me just show you, because, sometimes people don't believe in what you're telling them. They always think you up to something or you being sneaky, but that's people who don't want to make no money, Chan. You feel me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this. Try to get this as close enough to you as possible. You see that price? You see that?
1,546.
Okay. You see that? Hold on a second. Let me get this squared away for you. Hold on a second. Get this thing together.
2635.
Okay. Let's go again.
2561.
Let's go again.
1546.
Let's go again.
1372.
Let's go again.
2227.
Let's go again.
1546.
Let's go again.
1546.
Folks, what you guys just saw was what I'm getting from my income of my Airbnb property. That's where that's coming from. And the property Chin is talking about is right here. And you guys have probably seen the videos and this and that, but that's this property right here. This property has already brought in almost $100,000 and we ain't even all the way out the year yet. If you guys want to make some income, if I'm in the space business, I'm not in the hope business, I'm in the space business, right? I'm about renting out space. I have this office, what you see here is 2 levels, and I have a whole bunch of them. I got one over here and another one over there. And so my upstairs, besides the one here, I rent out the space for storage. That's an extra $1,000 that you can get, folks, just in storage. And it's an app for that. You can get on this app and they'll tell you, all you got to give a square footage and show pictures. And you can actually tell them when they can come in, when they can't come in. You can rent space. I'm getting ready to build 2 what they call ADUs, which is additional units. Additional units is like your garage. If you're not the type of person that need a lot of privacy, then you can rent your garage out, right? And as you rent your garage out, those garages pay my mortgages. I'm talking about $1,600, $1,800 to rent a 1-bedroom, and it's literally 400 square feet. It's my garage, but I had to redo it. I had to go get permits. I had to do everything that they wanted from me, but my mortgage payment is only $1,600. So what I'm saying to you folks is that you can create passive income. Now, for some of you guys, you say, well, shoot, DL, I ain't got that kind of money. I don't even own a house. I ain't even got no credit. I ain't got this. Hey, be quiet. Stop doing yourself wrong. Stop talking to yourself like that. You need to speak life into this. We got to speak this into existence. We got to speak it into existence that you are going to have these things. So let me show you what you can do until then. You can create online courses. Which Chin speaks so highly of it that you guys are following him because of it. You can create an online course and you say, well, I don't know what to talk about. What are you good at? What are you good at? I don't know if you're good at making some goddamn cornbread, then do a class on how you make the best cornbread in the world or the best potato salad in the world. If you're a janitor and you know how to clean an office, then tell people this is how I got my clients. This is the type of chemicals that I use on the floor to strip the floors. This is what I do to clean the walls without stripping off the paint. This is how I go get the clients. This is how I write up an invoice. Let me tell you something. An online course could do that. Chin been fighting. Like I was Season, just so you know, Chin. I've been talking to Season about it too. And she's helping me come up with these courses because Chin was straight up. He said, Dale, you got so much in your head, boy. You need to be course on top of course on top of course on top of course. How to build a car, how to be a master barber, customer service, pocket game. There's so many courses that I can create. And that's because of Chin helped me understand that you don't need to be afraid. And I ain't gonna lie to you, y'all. I was afraid to do stuff like that because I don't understand technology. I don't understand technology. I don't have a problem talking in front of 15,000, 20,000 megafest. I spoke in front of 30,000 people. But if I got to get on my phone and that little dot on the phone, folks, I swear to you, I'm so scared of that little dot. I don't know what to do. I'll be doing my best not to even look at that damn dot. Thank God the damn phone is sideways, so I'm looking straight and the dot is over on the left side. But for some reason, I have a fear of that little dot, like it's going to do something to me. But if somebody's holding the phone, I can go to work. And what I'm saying to you folks is this. There's an old saying that says, when you think life has robbed you, it's always an inside job. Always. So every excuse that you may have or you think that you have is coming from inside. It's coming from the inside. People say the tripod. I don't care I got a tripod literally right behind this phone, and I'm still that dot. But I'm getting better, folks, because I do it so much. I'm on so many lives now that I don't let it bother me. But I'm just telling you, these are some of the things that's hindering me from doing what I'm good at because I was scared of the dot. And I'm just being transparent, right? So the other thing is folks, that I want you to understand is that once you start moving, and once you start grooving, once you start believing in yourself, and I would say as a homework assignment, every single person, before you get off this live or while you're on this live, try to figure out a way. And when you get off, maybe post something, make everybody mad. Try to get 5 more haters before you go to bed tonight. Try to get 5 strong haters before. Get them talking about you. Get them talking bad about you. Because I'm going to tell you something, folks. Those haters are the very people that's going to give you the gas to go. Them haters. Yes. And I will tell you this. And this is some game you can take to the bank, Chin, for all your listeners and your loyal followers. Folks, I want you to understand about haters. When God gives you a gallon-size idea, a gallon size, and you tell it to a person with a pint-sized mindset, and they say it's not going to work, they are not hating on you. They are telling you the absolute 150,000% truth. It is not going to work. So your idea ain't going to work. Want to know why it's not going to work, folks? It's because of this. I'm going to tell you right now. It's because you gave your idea to a person with a pint-sized mindset. So they're right. A gallon is not going to fit into a pint. So they're not hating. They're telling the truth. They can't see beyond the pint. So stop giving your ideas, your dreams, your goals that God gave you and giving it to a pint-sized mindset. What you need to do is start surrounding yourself with a nice pedigree of people that's going to give you gallon-sized ideas to go along with your gallon-sized idea. That's how you do that. Stop giving it to people who don't have your best interest at heart. Stop giving it to people who really don't even care. And I will tell you this, folks, you can take this to the bank too. Stop looking for permission. Too many of you are looking for permission from others to do what you want to do. Sharonda, you already know what I'm talking about. Stop asking for permission. When God gave you what he gave you, he already gave it to you. You guaranteed to win. So what the hell is your problem by looking for permission to somebody that don't even like you anyway? They don't even like you. Yet and still, you're looking for their permission to go get the go ahead, the green light, the thumbs up to go do something when 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you no. And that's family members. That's lovers. Some of y'all messing around with the wrong people. You're sleeping with the enemy. A lot of you sleep with the enemy, and the dysfunction in the relationships are so bad that it becomes normal to you. It becomes normal. And now you wonder why you don't win. Now you wonder why you're not successful. Now you wonder why things ain't working out. Now you wonder why this is a problem. Now you wonder why I don't have the money in the bank. Now you wonder why you don't have a legacy for your family. Now you wonder why you don't have health insurance. Now you wonder why that you are not living the dreams that you want to live. Why? It's because guess what? You are living in dysfunction. You are going to have to declutter your mindset.
All right. Who got?
Yeah, we both had to come out. We had to come out these shirts, these jackets, because, But I got some stuff for you, Chin, too now, because I want to send them home with some stuff.
What about this pandemic that hit?
Mm-hmm.
You want to hit on that?
Sure. First of all, anybody that got caught up in the pandemic, it was a tough ticket for you guys, not understand. I found that a lot of people who was doing all of the flossing and saucing pre-pandemic, where was they at? With all these followers, they are influencers. Where was their ass at when the pandemic hit? They was quiet as a church mouse. What happened to the flossing then? Because see, they was broke in the first place. Folks, I'm gonna tell you something. When that pandemic hit, the government, the mayors, the governors of all of these cities and all of these states said a word that for some were very foreign to the word. For others, they had to get it explained to them. And for some other people, they knew exactly what it meant. They said you were non-essential. When you became non-essential, that was a whole nother animal in itself. The reason why I'm saying that is because of this. How can somebody like a governor, a mayor, a president, anybody call you non-essential when God did not ever say you were non-essential? God made you as an image of him. So how did you allow anybody to make you non-essential. And for some people, they honestly, Chin, believed it. They honestly believed it. Non-essential. Who told you that? Who lied to you? Who lied to you? So the problem was a lot of people got with their hands in the cookie jar. A lot of people didn't save no money. A lot of people didn't put anything away. A lot of people think that they was going to make the money they was making all the time. But no, guess what you did? You put yourself in that position, and now you were worried about how you were going to pay your bills, how you're going to pay your mortgage, how you're going to pay your car note, how you're going to feed your family, how you're going to pay your rent. All of these things start falling down like dominoes. It's because we got too comfortable. And you know, Chin, what I was doing when the pandemic hit, I was up there in Havasu, and I didn't come down for almost a year, redoing my place. I cleaned my shop first. I showed all of that in a video. Me and my mama, we went to work, and then we went to Arizona, and I went to work on, I redid the whole house. And now I am actually getting the benefits from it. But what I'm saying is folks, is that it's because one thing is that I'm not waiting on an emergency to make me. I'm not waiting on an emergency to get myself going. I'm going to work hard way before the emergency happens. And I think that you should do the same. I think, like I said before, you should save your money. I think that you should take this to the next level. I think that you should say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm sick and tired of saying that I'm sick and tired. Let's get to that. We should be at a point where we're saying, you know what? I need to quit quitting. See, a lot of people keep quitting. Quit quitting. Because what's happening is everything you start, you quit. Anytime a roadblock show up, you quit. Anytime there's some money involved, you quit. Listen, find the money. Go get the money. Do what you got to do. Work late. Sell that purse. Sell a car that you got sitting. Sell that computer. Sell that expensive belt. Sell that expensive watch. Do whatever it takes to create your passive income, folks. Do whatever it takes, because it's going to be greater later. And then the next time a pandemic hit, next time we have some kind of catastrophe, you're going to be ready. Old school rap songs say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So that's my take on the pandemic.
Now, as far as the future, what do you and beauty professionals do?
So first of all, I think that beauty professionals need to level up. I think that beauty professionals need to, if you are not getting what you're worth, I think you need to reevaluate. I think you need to get realigned. I think you need to be around positive people. I think that you need to be honest. I think one of the biggest things is being honest with self, because a lot of people don't want to be honest with self, right? And what I mean by that is this, Chan. So let me give you some of my things that I think that people should do. Number one, if you're writing things down, clean up all negative clutter in your mind. God can't bless you when you have mess in your mind. He can't bless you. He ain't gonna bless you, right? So number one, clean up all the negative clutter. Number two, don't allow negative people. Here's a big one. I want you to put a star next to this one if you're writing this down. Sharonda, write this one down, because I don't know you, sister, but I'm telling you right now, my spirit is telling me you got a lot of people wanting to dump their stuff on you. For some reason, sister, I know that you got a good heart and you trying to help people, but I'm going to tell you something, sister, they are dumping too much stuff on you and you don't need it in order for you to get to where you're going. So Sharonda, listen to this. Don't allow negative people to download negative thoughts on your mental hard drive without your permission. Don't allow negative people to download negative thoughts on your mental hard drive without your permission. So in other words, you have to protect your mindset. You can't let people, girl, guess what happened to me today? And girl, guess what Tony did? And dude, guess what happened at the barbershop? And man, that owner ain't doing this. Man, I'm paying all this. Listen, I don't need it. You don't need it. So please, folks, please stop allowing people to download, and Sharonda, you said OMG because you know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. They come with a big old dump truck and drop all that stuff on you and then look and sit up there and wait on you to give them the answers. But the funny thing is, Sharonda, they don't even want the answer. That's the problem. They don't even want the answer. They just want to be talking. But guess what? You internalize it because you care for them. Sister, you got to let that go. You got to let it go. The Spirit, God was just telling me that. And so I just had to drop that on you because, you know, I'm very obedient to when God is speaking to me. 3 is similar to 2 is protect the mindset. You got to protect your mindset. Protect it by all costs. And that means your mind, your spirit, and your body. You got to protect it. Number 4, organize your thoughts. You got to get things in order. You can't be chaotic when you get up in the morning. You got to get up in the morning and have a plan. Short term, whatever you're going to be doing, you need to write it down. Try to do 3 things that you need to get accomplished. Write those things down. It's so important that you write those things down. Okay. Number 5, this is a big one. Wake up every day with an optimistic mindset. Believe that it's going to work out. Trust that God got your back. Believe that I can make. Right now, my thing is, okay, $50,000 a month passive income. That's where we at right now. Okay. So if you're doing $50,000 a month passive, my goal is to say, okay, Dil, I need you to start doing your online courses and my mentorship. I make a lot of money on mentorship. So if any of you guys ever need a mentor, y'all need to get with me because I do 6-week courses and I will help you get to your goals. Right. But the thing is that the mentorship courses is one thing. But what are your goals? You got to have a goal. Start out. Stop trying to be. I'm trying to do my online course and I'm trying to make 20,000. I'm trying to make 50,000. I'm trying. No, folks. That's not what we're doing. That's not. How about making smooth 500? Let's start out with $500. Can you get $500 a month? Then 1,000 consistently, not just once, consistently. And keep building from there. Next thing you know, you're at 10,000 a month. Next thing you know, you're at 20,000. Next thing you know, you're at 40. You know, so now I'm at 50 and I'm trying to do 100,000 a month. It's possible. And the beautiful thing about it is you're giving. Nobody on this live, I don't think not one person that's on this live or on this Zoom is out to take people's money. I think you're trying to level up and you're trying to win. That's what I believe. And if that's what you're trying to do, then guess what? By golly, then you got to believe in God and you got to have faith and you got to go for it. That's what you got to do. Here's another one. 6, work on your gratitude attitude. Work on your gratitude attitude. Hey, Chan, question. Is it true that have you heard that the lion was the king of the jungle?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay. Did anybody send you an email about it or you just heard about it?
I heard about it. People talk about it. Okay,
cool. So in Lion King, he say he the king too. And Kuna Matata and all of that, right? Funny thing is, the lion is not the strongest animal in the jungle, nor is he the smartest, nor is he the fastest, right? But anytime he shows up, everybody leaving. Oh, here come the lion. Come on, y'all. We talking about massive sized elephants weighing over a ton that can step and break him in a piece, like step on him and break his back with just his foot. But guess what? They all move when here he comes. Alligators getting out, everybody getting out the way, messing around with a lion. But the funny thing is, you want to know why the lion is so, he became the king of the jungle and everybody in that jungle know it because everybody talking in the jungle. Everybody leaves when he shows up. And you want to know why, Chan? Is because of his attitude. Not because he's the strongest, not because he's the fastest, because he's none of those. It's because his attitude, his belief system lets him know that I'm the king. And the funny thing is when you see Jurassic Park, the last one, the animal that they had going against the Tyrannosaurus Rex on standing on top of a mountain was a lion, because the lion is not going for no foolishness. And I'm telling you, folks, you can't go for no foolishness. You either a lion or you're an eagle. You either a lion or you're an eagle. Either you're an eagle or you're a lion, but you ain't no damn chicken. Folks, God made you into something special. Funny thing about an eagle, folks, do you know an eagle can see over a mile away? He can see a rat going across the street a mile away. Keyword, he could see a rat. Sharonda, listen to this. He could see a rat from a mile away if you have an eagle eyesight. So when you got rat friends, you can see them coming from a mile away because you got eagle mindset and you got an eagle eye. Old school say this: always keep your grass cut low so you can see the snakes coming. You want to see the snakes coming. You don't want to keep your grass cut high so they can come and bite you at any time. They can hurt your feelings at any time because you allowed them in. Nah. See, the eagles fly into the storm. They don't fly away from the storm. They fly into it. And the reason why they fly into the storm, because they can get their wings stronger. They can soar high and they take it all in. I want you to be able to take all this in today, folks. I want you to be a winner. I want you to say, hey, Chin, thank you so much for having DL Master Barber on this live, because, man, I got something out of this. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to be the person to be like, I didn't get nothing out of this. You didn't get nothing out of it because you wasn't listening. Because I wasn't doing nothing but dropping heat. I wasn't dropping nothing but hammers. I wasn't dropping nothing but facts. I wasn't dropping nothing but receipts. Oh, Sharonda, I know you got it. I know you got it. I know a lot of y'all got it, but there's always going to be one or two. There's always going to be, I wasted my time. I don't know what, I shouldn't even been on here. You're right. You shouldn't. You should not have, because you have a pessimistic attitude as opposed to an optimistic attitude. Folks, I will say this because we haven't talked about it, but I need to mention it too. Our health is wealth. Our health is wealth. I'm a little disappointed at myself right now, Chin, because I feel like I'm 3 months pregnant. I swear on everything I love, I feel like I'm 3 months pregnant. And my suit size, I get my suits made. And when I get those suits, if I ain't get them from the secondhand store, he like, hey, D, you want to change the size? Hell no, we ain't changing the size. Deal gonna lose some weight. I didn't have no COVID weight. Sharonda, I didn't have no COVID weight. That's called laziness. That's called working on set, getting off late at night. They feeding you all day. You ain't turning nothing down. And then you go to sleep on that food. No. When I finish you, Chin, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym because I like my grown and sexy. I'm getting ready to get my Sean Connery on. Y'all better see all that beautiful gray. I finally got it where it's all matching. Y'all better quit playing with me. I'm grown and sexy and grown. I'm going to be wealthy and healthy all at the same damn time. There's an old saying, Chin, that says this. People will spend their whole life chasing their wealth. Once they get their wealth, Chin, they'll spend their whole wealth chasing their health. Nah. Reality is you can have both. That's the beauty thing about it, folks. You can have both if you got balance. So you can have your health and your wealth. See, a lot of people just don't understand how important. That's why I got emotional earlier, because I allowed money to lead instead of me allowing God to lead. See, before it was me, then business, then family, then God. Knowing God was the one who put me there in the first place, right? But then once I understood and God had to hit me upside the head, tap me on my heart, then it was God first, then me, then family, then business. See, business came last. God was number one. And some people say, well, my kids come first. Well, if your kids come first, then you should let your 12-year-old pay the mortgage then. If your kids come first, you should let your 8-year-old pay the mortgage then, since they first. There's no way in four hells that your kids can be first. Now, they can be first in your mind, but reality, you got to come first because you don't want to pay the bill. You don't want to put a roof over their head. You don't want to put them through college. You don't want to feed them. So you got to be first. So God, you, family, always remember that. In your mind, they could be first. In your heart, but reality is you got to be first, because if you're not there and something was to happen to you, who's going to take care of your kids? Somebody else. So why not have balance? Why not have a purpose? Why not have a plan? Why not be you, letting God lead you? When God leads you, He's going to lead you into success. And as He leads you into success, your family is going to reap the benefits from it. Your family is going to reap the benefits from it. That's how important this is, folks. That's the reason why we're on this Zoom for as long as we've been on, because we've been on a marathon talking about how to win. That's why. And Sharonda, I'm telling you, because you're the only one I can see popping up on my screen. Let me tell you something. I honor you, sister. I honor you, queen. And everybody else who else is on this live that I can't see. I just want you to know how much I really, really appreciate you. I want you to know that you can win. Eddie, I get to see you, baby. I see you on the screen. Folks, you were not designed to work as hard as you're working. You weren't designed to do that. That was a curse, but it doesn't have to be the end all. Allow your passion to fund your passive. Allow your, Regina, I see you, queen. Allow your passion to fund your passive. And then eventually, folks, what's going to end up happening is the money that you making doing hair or whatever business that you're in, your passive is going to outdo that. Hear what I say. Passive is going to outdo your passion. So that means, yeah, you might be a great barber, you might be a great stylist, you might be a great whatever you do, but your passive income is coming in so much that God blessed you with, because if you build it, they'll come. Then and you have faith that it was going to work out, and you fought through the storm, and then you start making this money. Because one thing about hairstylists and barbers, you guys chose a job that you're employed and all unemployed all in the same day. Big shout outs to LAQUESHON9. Big shout outs. Folks, I'm telling you something. You chose a job that you're employed and unemployed all in the same day. As long as that chair is spinning, you're employed. When that chair stops spinning, you're unemployed. See, thing about it is that when Chin bring people up here, man, we got receipts for the naysayers, the non-believers, the people that don't believe in nothing. But I'm here to tell you, folks, I'm here to tell you that you're worth more than what you've done. You're a blessing on this earth. You're here to give and not receive all the time. God loves you. Folks, let me tell you something. There's an old saying that says this, and Les Brown said it. If you want to keep on getting what you're getting, keep on doing what you're doing. I'm going to say it one more time. If you want to keep on getting what you're getting, keep on doing. And that's we summon that up in a nutshell. If you're tired, change it. If you want to win, change it. If you want a better life, change it. If you want nicer things, live below your means for a little while and change it. You're a gift. You're a gift. Zandra, I see you. You're a gift. See, God gave you a gift before he even designed you. And because he gave you this gift, all you got to do is unwrap it, and you cannot lose. You can't. I just want you to experience the life that you deserve, folks. Chin wants you to experience the life that you deserve. But you can't do it when you hold it on tight. You can't do it every time you think that, somebody he trying to charge me $1,000. Stop. You spend $1,000 on tomfoolery. You spend $1,000 on going on a trip with your girls to Atlanta for the weekend. You spend $1,000 going to LA. What are you talking about? You making excuses. Don't make no more excuses. Nike got a slogan, just do it. What is it? What is the it? I want to know, what is the it? I know what it is to me. Just do it means your internal talent. That's your it. The internal talent that God gave you. Just do that. Whatever that is. Whatever that is. And only you know what that is. Be you. Don't be nobody else. Be you. And be a blessing to the world. Be a gift to the world. Don't rob it. Bless it. And leave out of here on empty. Leave something for your family. And I believe the way I say leave something for your family is be able to give it to them while you're still alive. While you're still alive. Not when you're dead and insurance and all that. Hell no. If I had kids, goddamn it, I'm going to give them something and I want to see how well they maintain it. It's the way God does you. You just don't know about it. You think you're doing so. You think you slick. You ain't slick. You ask God for this and you ask God for that and you ask God to bless you. You ask God to give you bigger. You ask God to give you better. But the funny thing is one thing that he does for you, he gives you choice. Knowing that trash needs to be empty. It ain't your shop. It ain't your business. Ain't nobody watching, but you can empty it, but you don't. No one knows that glass is dirty. Ain't nobody looking. Ain't nobody watching, but you can clean it. You ain't got nothing else better to do, and you don't because it ain't my shop. I ain't got to do that. And guess what? All God is doing is testing you because he wants to see if you can manage somebody else's business before he gives you your own. You're a selfish person who's asking for a lot, but not willing to put in no work to get yours. And I'm not saying y'all the people in this group, but I'm saying y'all know people who I'm talking about. Y'all know those people. So what I'm saying to you is folks, don't let somebody else do the job that you could do yourself. And if you maintain that nice little car that you call a little bucket, and you wash that car, and you take care of that car, and you go get tune-ups regularly, because it is getting you to work. Watch how God blesses you with a new car. Watch how God removes that car and puts a new car in your life. See, there's levels to this. You might not be jumping in a Porsche from your next car, but you might be getting a nice brand new Honda that you was blessed with because you took care of the little. You might not get the 5-bedroom, but God bless you with a 3-bedroom, and you took care of that. And now God is moving you into the Chin's neighborhood. He's moving you into DL's neighborhood. Why? Is because as long as you continue to deliver God's message, because that's all I'm doing. I'm a mailman, Chin. I'm not no barber. I'm a mailman. I deliver God's message for a living. And when I started out, Chin, God gave me this little bag that I could put in my back pocket, and I just had to deliver the little bit of mail. Then next thing you know, God gave me the big shoulder bag, and I was able to go to neighborhoods and communities and deliver God's message. Now he got me talking in front of thousands because I was able to work with my community first. That's what you guys are. You're messengers. You're messengers. And when you are a great steward of your own money, and you're a great steward of your own family, and you have good balance, God will give you more than you can even handle. Chin, how you feeling, baby?
Living the dream.
Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. So I will say this, Chin. Folks, I'm going to be doing some online courses. I do have a mentorship program. So if you really want to take my mentorship program, follow me right now. DL Master Barber, all one word, at Instagram, and Darren, DARRIN Lyons, LYONS on Facebook. I also have a DL Master Barber on Facebook. But if I gave you some information that you can use and you think that it was worth talking about it, please leave a comment as well. You know, I don't know if we still here. Chin, I'm still with you.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see?
Okay, cool.
Because I was putting.
Yeah, I can see this. Okay, yeah. So if you guys want to follow, please follow me. Start following me, because I'm going to be giving you some information that's going to be like no other. In the next month, I'm going to be speaking in Cincinnati. I'm going to be speaking in Iowa, and I'm going to be speaking in Cincinnati, Iowa, and Jackson, Mississippi for July. But I'm only doing half of July, and then after that, I'm going to be on the road, I'll be chasing the sun all over the world for a month and a half. So I'll be all over the world chasing the sun. I'm not going to be speaking. I'm not going to be doing nothing. I'll be doing some live teachings. But I want to show you guys that you can live the life that you want to live, however you want to do it. So if anybody have any questions before I get off, please feel free to put them in the box, and Chin can read them off. Chin knows all about it, but I'm moving to Thailand. And so, but the funny thing is folks, that I'm going to be teaching classes in different places, in different spaces all over the world. And I'm going to be inviting my students to come join me at my homes, plural, all over the world. And I'll be teaching classes called Destination Education. And so I'll be doing, and now once I go on my trip for a month and a half, what I'm going to be doing is teaching classes all over. So like if you was to come to Thailand, I might send you, we might go do part class at my place in Thailand. Then we'll go to Vietnam and we'll do some classes there. So you'll be able to experience the culture, but not only experience the culture, but you'll actually get the coaching. And then I'll put you on a plane and send you back home. So that's the plan. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm going to do one last season with the show that I'm on. And then I'm going to start making my transition to do the destination education. And that's going to be all over the world. It's going to be great. I think you guys should really stay in tune, stay locked in with me. Chin is definitely going to be coming down, and he'll be doing some classes from where I'm at. And I just think that it's going to be a great ride. So folks, enjoy the process. Be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. Ask God for patience. Ask God to help give you wisdom. Ask God to help you give you understanding. Ask God for more humility. Ask God to just help you be a better person. Give more and expect nothing in return. And I guarantee you that you're going to have everything that you want out of life.
Well, we thank you, DL.
Yes.